Hello, this is Irina from Loveland Crafts. I'm back today with day 10 of our 12 days of tutorials. If you're just now joining us, make sure to watch all of the videos starting from day 1 and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you will be entered into the drawing for $50 gift certificate to our online store. We're going to work on another one of the boxes today, since it seems that you ladies and gentlemen, I guess, enjoying the boxes as well as the cards. I have my layers cut and die cut already. I'll list all of the measurements for the layers and the links to all of the products used today in the video description below. We're going to start with the large shapes like this, and I have 2 die cut with the nested frames large from the black cardstock and 2 from the kraft cardstock with the nested frames small, and these are the largest shapes from both sets. I'm going to use Hello Lovely background stamp, and I'm going to stamp 2 of these shapes first. I couldn't find my large ink pad, so I'm going to use the smaller one, so it will just take me a little longer to tap into the stamp. And this is Black Suit in Distress ink. Now I'm going to put my shape face down, cover with scrap piece of paper, and rub into it. And this is the design that it gives me. I'm going to do the same on the second piece and also on 2 of the layers for the sides of the box. Now my shapes are stamped, and before I glue them on, I'm going to stencil. I'm going to add stencil design on top of this. I'm going to grab some ink, and I'm not pressing really hard into it because I actually want my design, stamp design, show inside of my polka dots. But this is how it looks like. So you can see the design is still showing there, but it enhances the design. It has different layers, and I really love this effect. I'm going to do the same on the other layers. Now all of my layers are done, and I'm going to glue them onto the black cardstock, onto the black layers. And I really love how this looks like. Really pretty. These are done. Next thing, I'm going to stamp on the small rectangle. I'm going to use wood planks background stamp, and I'm going to use walnut stain distress oxide for this. A really beautiful effect. Then I'm going to glue this onto the little larger size kraft cardstock, and then onto black. And all of the measurements will be listed in the video description, so you can create something similar if you like this design, or exact. So as you can see, we're not using any of the printed papers, we're just creating our own, and this gives you so much flexibility and has so many different options. The next thing, I'm going to grab my large piece of cardstock that's cut to 7 by 10.25, and I'm going to score it to make our box. I'm going to put it in long way first, so on 7 inches side, and I'm going to score it at 2 inches and then at 5 inches. And this gives me 2 inches on each side. Then I'm going to turn it. Now I'm on my 10 1/4 mark, and I need to score at 4 1/8 and 6 1/8. Your scoring board might have the mark like this. This one doesn't. It's an older version. So to get to 4 1/8, I'm going to move my cardstock to 1/8 mark here. So I'm not going flash to the side at 1/8, and then I'm going to score at 4 1/4 and 6 1/4. This. Now I'm going to cut it. So I'm going to hold it horizontally, and I'm going to cut it on my score line up to horizontal score line. Then I'm going to turn it, so now my cuts are on the top, and I'm going to do the same from the bottom. Now I'm going to trim a little bit on the smaller flap here. I'm going to do darts, so I'm taking just about 1/8 of an inch off on each side. So you can see how I just cut in a little bit there. And the same on the other side. Now I'm going to use my bond folder, and I'm going to go with it over all of my folds. So I got this right here, and just to give you an idea, this is how our box is going to be. It's going to be tall box this time. Pretty easy, right? So now before I put it together, I'm going to glue my layers on. So I'm going to put this on the sides. So now when I got this, I'm going to put tape, double-sided tape on the box before I close it. Now I'm going to keep in mind that since I have this paper on already, this will be the front of my box, and I'm going to put the tape right behind on the other side of these layers. And then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to put the tab on the flaps. I'm going to remove the backing from the flaps first. I'm going to sit it on the table nice and even, lift these flaps off the table, and sit my other side, the one that doesn't have the tape on, flat, and then just press into this. And this gives me really nice and square corners. Now I can go ahead and close this here. Again, holding this nice and steady, bringing this to the score line. and simply closing this in. Here's our little box. Now we can put the sides on. So we're using these shapes to create kind of effect of the fancy shaped box, even though it's rectangle. I'm going to put adhesive on here, and I'm going to keep in mind that parts of it are going to be so one goes on one side, just center it here, and my second one on the other side. So now let's go ahead and embellish the front of it. I have my postage stamp die already with the layers that we did before, and I have a corner. This is the same lattice corner that we used on the succulents card. I'm going to go ahead and put it here as a topper now for a pretty embellishment. The glue I'm using is by Art Glitter, and it's called Dries Clear. And it's really nice to use for the die cuts for the small pieces. I also have a precision metal tip on it that I find really helpful. So I'm going to tuck this under. And this time I'm going to leave a little space. I'm not pushing it all the way up to the black cardstock. Then I can go ahead and glue this on. The next thing I have here is the typewriter, and this is how the die looks like, one of my favorite dies. And I die cut it from chipboard, from our medium weight chipboard, and when I die cut it, I only rolled it once through the machine, and it left all of the skis and inside, and this is what I wanted for this design. I'm only going to poke this line, the space line, I guess that's what it is, and also two little ovals on the top. And before I put it on, I'm going to ink it with the black Suit Distress ink. And to ink it, I'm going to, if you have the larger ink pad, it works much better, but I don't, so I'm just going to use the small one. And I'm going to put it down and then press into it a little bit and then drag it. So put it down, press into it, and then drag it. And this creates really nice kind of shiny effect, and you can do as much or as little as you want. And I learned this trick from our design team, and I do this a lot. So you can see how it really looks like vintage typewriter right now, and all of the pretty detail on the die are just showing through so nicely. Before I put my typewriter on, I have a little piece of the cardstock, of the ivory cardstock cut, and it cut to the size to go to this, through this slit in the die, and we're going to stamp a sentiment on it. The sentiment I'm going to use is from the same stamp set from Wood Plank's background stamp set, and it says "Hi Friend." So pretty. And to give it a little bit more of the distress look, more of the vintage kind of effect, what we have going on here, I'm going to add a little bit of the walnut stain ink around it. Now to give it a little dimension, I'm going to roll it with my finger. So I'm holding it between two of my fingers and kind of rolling it up. And I'm going to tuck it in, and I'm going to see how much this looks pretty nice, I think. Can pull just a little bit lower. So you can still see the corner die tucked behind there. Now, since I brought it lower, I'm going to cut a little bit off so this paper is not showing from the front when I fold it. Maybe a tiny bit off. Perfect. So now I'm going to add a little bit glue behind where that sentiment strip is, so it's holding it in place. And I'm going to use foam tape to put this element onto my box. So pretty. Of course, you can adapt this and have it to be a card front instead of a box. So there are many possibilities here. And it looks pretty masculine, and you can leave it as is. I'm going to add yellow flowers on the side here. And I think it still looks masculine enough, but just a little bit of the splash of color. So I'm using 2 leaves here, and there are, just trying to see, I don't want to cover the typewriter, so I'm going to bring them all over to the corner. So off camera I decided that I like this better because I don't want to cover my typewriter. I'm going to put the leaves on the sides and then some of the flowers in the center. This die comes as a set of 2, so you get larger and smaller leaves. And once again, these dies are all from different releases. Some are from newer, some are from older. And as you can see, I'm still using all of the dies. And since we design our own, they all work together so nicely. And you can always find something that coordinates in our range. Now these 3 flowers come as a set as well, and then I have the smaller ones, the tiny ones, right here, and these ones come as a set of 4. And as you can see, they're the same design, they're just smaller, and I really love using the small ones in the centers. So as you can see, it just adds so much more detail with the little one in the center here. And I'm going to shape it a little bit before I put it on. So I'm going to leave the petals, and I'm just going with my nail and pressing into it and then bringing it up. Or of course you can use the tool, or you can use a pencil or a pen to roll it up. So you would just roll it up like this. Whatever you find works the best for you. Then I simply lift the small flowers petals up. They're not big enough to be rolled, so we're just going to bring them up for a little more dimension. And then I'm going to use pearls for the centers of the flowers. So I'm going to add a dab of glue here in the very center. And then put the pearls on. Such pretty flowers. Now I'm going to arrange them. And I think I'm going to pop the center one and then glue the ones on the sides. Okay, so really pretty. Now, as you can see, this shape here doesn't really let my box to stand, and I anticipated that, and I knew that I'm going to use this knobs. These are the finials and they're from the Reese, and these are taller than the ones that we were using yesterday, so this will accommodate this piece here and my box is still going to be standing correctly. If you don't have the tall feet that you could use for your box, before you glue these shapes on, you can either cut them, or what I've done before, use the bone folder and score it and fold them in, so then your box can just be used as a straight up on the table. I'm going to use glue and glue the feet on. So now my box is completed. I would let it dry a little bit before I start using it, but I just want to show you how it looks like. Of course, you can paint these legs too. You can possibly paint them in black color if you'd like that, but this looks pretty good. I like how actually masculine it is, so it can be used for a man, for a gentleman in your life. You can put a different sentiment here, of course, for different occasions, and then you can put little gift inside, or you can just use it for yourself if you're not ready to give this away. And this can be used to store different things. It can be used as a pen holder, as a pencil holder, as your just different crafting supplies holder. Isn't this nice? So I hope you enjoyed it, and before you go, let's do a sale today again. So for all of the products used on today's project, all of the La La Land Crafts products, all of the dies and background stamps, you'll get 20% off today, December 14th, and tomorrow, December 15th, for 2 days. And let's do the discount code will be type. And our website, for those of you who might not be familiar, is lalalandcrafts.com. Have fun shopping, have fun creating. I hope you liked it. I can't wait to see what you all are making. And I'll see you tomorrow for day 11. Thank you for watching. Bye. Much love.